Hi guys, what is today?
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Today we're calling this day 1 of quarantine day. So we made a little spreadsheet, or you know me, I like my lists and all that fun stuff.
Got to be organized.
Got to be organized. So we're going to try to give updates every day or every few days. A work task, a fun task, a tip, a scripture, and our plans. And we're doing this just to kind of hopefully share our experience, if nothing else. Boredom, that's part of it too. Also, just to kind of hopefully I'd get feedback. We'd love to hear what other people are doing, what some of the fun things you are doing, or maybe things that we think are fun. Like one of our fun things you may not think is fun. So we'll see. So as we go, hopefully we'll get some feedback from people as what you're doing in scriptures, things that you have. So updates on Maddie.
Maddie's doing good. She's in quarantine. Got her downstairs, locked up.
Yep.
Got a little cupboard, little hole in the door, so we slide food in, and when she wants something, she just slides it back out. We clean it, sanitize it, and slide some more stuff back in. Slide in some newspaper, if she's got to go bathroom and stuff like that. No, just kidding.
Not that bad, but
actually she's doing good. She still has the sniffles. She came back from school. As of now, I think instead of a week of midterms or
there's just a spring break.
They extended it to 2 weeks, but now they're saying it might last for the whole rest of the semester. We're not sure. Haven't got the final word yet, but she is doing better. I keep asking her, hey, do you want me to send down the TV,
like
cable,
a receptor box
so she can watch TV? And she's like, Dad, no, I don't watch TV at school, so I don't want to watch it now. And I'm still asking her, and she's like, Mom, tell Dad to leave me alone. I don't need it.
She
I
did
don't watch TV at school.
She's like, every time I talk to Dad, he asks, I can bring you the box down, babe.
So
yeah,
okay.
She's good. We're hoping that she continues to heal, and that we're giving ourselves about 7 days to make sure we didn't bring home pneumonia or anything else from the hospital.
Matter of fact, since we came back, I've kind of got the sniffles, and I'm thinking I got it from the hospital. So, and even though I wore a mask and gloves while I was there, but still.
I mean, realistically, even as we were kind of watching our own protocol of like gloves when you're at the store or in town, but then it's so easy to cross-contaminate because like when you take one glove off, if you're not doing the inside pull, you touch your hand to take the other one off, or you touch something, you've already cross-contaminated yourself. So we try to be wise, but there's realistically only so much you can do.
Well, even her doctor said this thing is just so hard to be conscious about not touching or trying not to spread it, that people are going to spread it.
He said it's impossible
to contain it.
So they're working on decreasing. We had some gas delivered earlier today. The guy's like 20 feet from the door and he goes, is anybody there sick? And we're like, no, we're good. And he's like, all right. So, but I thought that was really funny. No handshaking or anything like that. But it's good. I mean, it's good to see people. I was cutting up with somebody earlier today because as a CFer, and all my CFer brothers and sisters can confirm this, our whole life has been 6 feet apart. Like we're not allowed to be around each other more than getting closer. And I probably hug more than I should, but not CFers or not anybody that's sniffling, coughing, whatever. So although I'm starting to get a lot of weird looks, like even we were at the gas station, even at the White Castle the other day, we were waiting in line and I coughed and the guy's like staring at me. And so I feel like I needed a little sign that says, I have CF, not the coronavirus.
Well, you were in the drive-through.
We were in the drive. I know, but that's what I meant. Yeah, in the drive-through, as he's handing me food, I'm coughing, and he's like, just eyeballing me. It is what it is. So I actually heard about a young girl with CF in Europe, I think it was, that people started screaming at her and telling her that she should be at home because she was coughing and they thought she was spreading the coronavirus. So people are getting a little silly. As for us, I think we are recovering, just resting. Today was, I was shocked yesterday how much my legs hurt. And just how tired I was when I got home. So I know that they told me I wasn't going to be as perky as I normally am right after getting out of the hospital, but I think I was a little surprised at how tired that I am. So anyway, so our work task today I did some laundry. I was able to get all of the clothes cleaned out of my suitcase. I got them washed, and so that's done. And we did some sorting of supplies because I guess Oscar did some shopping while I was in the hospital. And so then it's like deciding, what do we keep upstairs? What do we put downstairs? We don't have to go downstairs too much because Maddie's down there. So just doing some organizing and type things. And I feel like that task is going to be like a ongoing task, don't you think?
Probably.
So anyway, just organizing. So, but the upside is for me, which I consider this a fun task. I don't think Oscar considers this a fun task. I'm like, we can take everything out of the cabinet. We can sort it. We can organize it. We can put labels on it. This is going to be so much fun. He didn't think so.
Have fun, baby. Have fun. You can do that.
Fun tasks today. We did get to go out and feed the cows. Of course, that's what I meant earlier when I said not everybody may think what we think is fun is fun. I mean, they literally act like they're starving all the time. They are not, as a matter of fact. They're little porkers, but it's just nice to go out and spend time with them and just see how cute they are. And I think they really missed me, or missed the spoiling that I give them. So
when you walk out with the bucket, they're out in the field and they come running towards you. No, yes. I think it's the bucket that.
If you ever want to see a 1,000-pound cow run like he is a rabbit, step outside our front door with a big Lowe's bucket, and you'll get to witness it. So it's pretty funny. I decided today that after watching my sweet husband mop our floors last night, just before noon, have our floors caked in mud from the dogs because it's so wet outside. And so I got the harebrained idea, I think I'm going to order some boots off Amazon for the dogs and try to get them to wear boots. Well, so I found some, and they're like $15 a piece, and I thought, it's a little pricey, but I thought, maybe I want to do that. And about the time I was kind of thinking about it, I heard on the news that Amazon is now going to only be shipping, I guess, essential items. So they're not going to be, and I was like, so are mud boots essential items? I'm not sure. I'm sure I can make a case for it. That's going to happen. So that's okay. I'm from Alabama. I can improvise. So I started looking up how to make your own mud boots for your dog at home. And luckily enough, I had duct tape and a few of the other supplies that it suggested. So I'm like, we can do this. So Oscar had laid down to take a nap. And when he got up, I'm like, babe, I'm going to need old socks and a list of other stuff. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm making socks for the dogs. Because my theory is if I could get the dogs to wear some type of mud boot, let them outside with the mud boots, get as muddy as they want. I don't care. And then come back in, take their boots off. And then, I'm not mopping the floor 15 times a day.
Or I'm not mopping the floor.
Or he's not mopping the floor 15 times a day. So either way, we're not having to do it as much. So I actually wound up trying to improvise. I had some old diapers that were Eli's, our Shih Tzu. Before he passed away, he
actually,
had
they were
epilepsy.
My mother-in-law's old diapers. But we'll just say they're Eli, one of our dogs.
Oh yeah, okay, let's go with that. Anyway, so I tried to use the old diaper, and I safety pinned it and then put it on the dog just to see if it would work before I actually sewed it and then duct taped it for waterproofing, of course. So if you see any ghetto-looking dogs walking through yards with duct taped boots on their feet, those are ours. Anyway, so the first attempt was a fail, so that did not go so well. So I will keep trying. So I will keep you up to date on the boot fiasco. We also got to watch a little bit of TV, catch up on some TiVo stuff that we like to watch together. So tips that we have today is actually not going to be like games or anything. The tip that we have is from me.
Ensure. Remember, Ensure. If you run out of food, Ensure is a good quality food supplement. Good enough for one meal, has 350 calories. Good for one square meal. Has enough calories and all the vitamins and nutrients that your body needs for one meal.
One meal. You got it.
Good enough. And it's chocolate. Comes in different flavors. Chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. Yeah. Remember, Ensure. Plus even.
Yeah, the chocolate's my preference, just saying. For what I was going to say, which, yes, having Ensure is huge. At our house, it's always good because if I don't want to eat, the Gestapo over here, forces me, I have an option. I can either eat or I have to drink and insure. So, but that's one of the ways he's kept me alive all these years. So insure is a good thing.
Easy top. Easy.
That's right. You can put the top back on, put it in the fridge. So, but my thought was most people, so I know that some of our friends are what society likes to call preppers, and they have everything that they need, probably just a few things maybe they didn't have. But I understand that the average person is not a prepper or would love to be a prepper, but just can't afford it. And so what I recommend for the average person during this crisis, during this coronavirus situation, I want you to think about what it is that you used. So like I saw some of these prepper groups saying, like, make sure that you take full inventory of everything that you have, document every item that you use. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not doing that. So if you want to do that, that's a great place to start. But what I was thinking was that I know we're all going to recover from this. You know, we're all going to survive. This is going to be over in a month or 2 or 6, whatever, however long it takes for it to be over. And we're all going to come through this on the other side. So my recommendation is just kind of keep a note to the side. Like, what were the things that went out the fastest? Well, we know TP was a huge deal. Again, one of the first ways we got around it was getting a bidet because, again, still need some toilet paper, but you don't need as much. The second thing, but just making lists, like eggs, that was a huge piece of it. And had we not had a sly old fox take out 52 chickens, 57 chickens a few months ago, we would have had plenty of eggs. But having ways to either have those things, now they make like powdered eggs and stuff. So there's other ways that you could store these things. But make a list of stuff that you saw go first that you wanted. So Clorox. We were shocked to realize we only had 1 bottle of antibacterial soap in our house. We had soap bottles in our house, but only one of them were antibacterial. That surprised us. We had several jars of refills of just regular soap. It wasn't antibacterial. So that's one of the first things I think that we noted, and we didn't have enough bleach. And bleach is my best friend personally. I like to bleach the walls. I like to, make sure that bacteria, it's the number one way to kill any germs and bacteria. So bleach is a huge one. So we're already starting to make some notes of things that we didn't have enough of. And as the days, weeks, possibly months go on, however long it's going to take, I don't know. We will just continue to document what it is that we had maybe too much of. Like if you went out and bought 10 trays of green beans and you wind up eating 4 cans, clearly you could have spent that money better somewhere else. So powdered milk, things like that are going to last, that you can have some storage life on, but that you also will use, not stuff that you buy just for, just for a crisis and then never choose to use it. So anyway, something else, and this is not, we're kind of outside of this window of life per se, but like for married couples, like condoms. If you're not on like birth control or whatever, that's something that a lot of couples still use these days, I think. I don't know. Let me know below, I guess. But everybody's kind of talking about in 9 months, there'll be a bunch of corona babies. So just things like that, sanitary napkins, things that if you're going to be in for 2 to 3 months and you weren't expecting it, what kind of things did you need? So enough about that. Medication, that's a huge one. Even like for me, when I go in the hospital, I spend 2 weeks in the hospital, usually. But those 2 weeks, I'm not taking my home meds. But instead of and I used to just wait until I was running out to reorder. He says, always order them when they're due. Even though that 2 weeks you weren't using them, you can have more on hand. Right. This is a perfect example of why, again, reason 1001, God gave this man to me, just to kind of show me and to be prepared for situations like this. So my scripture for today is, I mentioned Psalm 91 the other day. I feel like I'm going to be hanging on to that one for quite a bit. It's the whole chapter of Psalm 91. It's just literally dripping with faith, dripping with encouragement, and knowing that no matter what happens, God's got our back. And then 2 Timothy 1:7, God hasn't given us a spirit of fear. And people quote that part all the time, but it's the rest of it that's important. But of power, love, and of a sound mind. If you're freaking out because you couldn't get 15 cases of toilet paper, or you're freaking out because you just don't know, you got to stop. We do what we can and trust that God's going to do the rest. He didn't give us a spirit of fear. So if you're walking in a spirit of fear, or you're going to lay your head in bed tonight and worry, do I have enough? Have I done enough? What about this? What about that? That's not being faith driven. That's being fear driven. And that doesn't come from God. And so sometimes I know a lot of people question, like, how do you know that you're hearing from God? I think number one way, did God give you that thought? Is that something that God would encourage you to do? Like, I think I should go kill my neighbor. Pretty sure that's not from God. But sometimes it's not as clear. Like, I think I should go, give something to somebody. Was that me or is it God? So sometimes that word is kind of difficult. Yeah.
If it's God, I mean, God's going to make you do something like you just said. Should I go and do something for my neighbor? That's most likely going to be God. Yeah. Now, if I should I kill my neighbor? That's definitely not going to be God.
Definitely not from God.
Okay. So if it's something good, that's definitely going to be from God. If it's something
probably
bad
from God
or evil, that's mostly going to be
Satan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
God's never going to lead us into temptation. He's not going to lead us into fear. So I know sometimes we can choose out of trying to be nice for somebody. We may overextend ourselves or whatever. And that's a lot of flesh. But the biggest piece is just knowing that if it's like to go curse someone, hurt someone, be in fear, that's Satan. If it's pushing you away from God, that's Satan.
Right.
If it's drawing you closer to God, it's probably his voice. So if you're not walking in a sound mind tonight, just remember to give it all to the Lord. Do what you can. And then there's nothing else you can do. Once we get to a point that we're all quarantined to our homes, period, there's nothing else that can be done. But to pray and leave it in God's hands and rest in peace and knowing that it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. So before we belabor too long, and it's actually late tonight, we were hoping to get this done earlier today, but the day just kind of got away from us. So,
and another thing I was going to say is if you have elderly neighbors close by, check up on them, see if they need anything. Call them, they may not have a chance to get out and get anything. Call them, see if they need anything. If you're going to run to the store or whatever, just check up on them. Be neighborly, especially the elderly, We're all here to help one another. Let's be neighborly. And
be wise, though. If you got sick kids at home, don't be taking your neighbor's stuff. Because you could take your neighbor something that they don't want, like germs. But yes, and I saw a couple people on Facebook from church. I don't know if you saw those posts or not. A couple people from church were like offering, hey, I'm going to the store on this day. If you need anything or you can't get out of your house or you're sick or you got kids, whatever, let me know and I'll come get you or come get you some, get you stuff.
Yes.
So I thought that was so sweet. We have such an amazing church family at Brighton Assembly. I know our Cape First family back in Cape Girardeau celebrated 100 years this weekend. So we hated that we couldn't be there. We weren't too far away. We were in St. Louis, but congratulations, Pastor Gary and Rose. Congratulations to our Cape First family. 100 years is amazing. And the impact that you are making in Southeast Missouri is just amazing. And I feel like the Lord has blessed us with an amazing pastor here. Pastor Brent is an amazing pastor. He's anointed. He's earnest. He loves the Lord and he preaches with such genuineness. Oh yes, his heart is just amazing. So the Lord has definitely blessed us with great church family and great leaders. So and I know I just saw his video from Friday night and it was really good about just saying don't walk in fear. We're God's got this. And so I thought that was really good and encouraging to see as well. And so our plan for tomorrow, we do have to make a little trip into Springfield tomorrow. Wish us luck. Oscar's got to get some blood work done. And then most of you guys know back in January, I think it was January, right before we went to Mayo, we were in that tornado with hail and we got hail damage on the Jeep. So they finally got our Jeep repaired right before I went in the hospital this time. And they set the windshield, but the windshield didn't set right. So it whistles, Dixie, let me tell you. So they're finally gonna go ahead.
And what I think is funny, Gail always said, "Oh, the kids used to, when they would make noise, used to bother me." And she's like, "Oh, just ignore it, just ignore it."
In the car, yeah.
And it whistles, and it's not that bad. And she's over here freaking out.
Well, I got tinnitus.
And I'm thinking,
so my ear already rings.
Well,
and
but-
some pitches is like,
and it's not as bad as the kids. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you're
that's
here.
a mother skill.
Well, then block it out. Turn the radio up just a little bit.
Well, that's
and
all we
she's
wound
over
up
here
doing.
freaking out on me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, 3 kids, and
I can handle 3
you
kids.
can handle 3
a whistling
kids,
window.
and this little
no.
whistle in the window.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, see, and it's okay. So I'm going to need some mothers to comment below and tell me, is it not a mother's skill that, like, I would have 3 children screaming at each other in the back seat, and I'm just like, and he's over there like, oh my gosh, why are they so loud? And I'm like, oh, were they fighting?
But
I didn't even hear
this
them.
little whistle. It's like,
Well, maybe it's just that I'm getting older. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Maybe you're just getting cranky in your old age or something.
Probably part of it, maybe. So, anyway, so the good news is about that is they're going to reset the window tomorrow. So they're going to take it off, reset it. They're going to keep it at the shop for half the day. So I'm going to follow him down there with the truck and then pick him up and come back home and rest after his doctor's appointment. And then we have a fun project scheduled, assuming that we have time to do this, to make some little buckets for our cows. We have these huge 55-gallon drum
55
things.
gallons.
So we're going to turn them into 4. We're going to take 2 of them and turn them into 4 individual serving buckets for these
Feeders.
cows, because good gravy if they're not getting greedy. The bulls in particular.
The bulls are getting-
And I now fully understand where the term bully comes from, because those bulls are bullies.
Well, see, I figured it was bullheaded, but I figured, no, that's
That's me.
That's
yeah,
you.
a little bit.
So-
Well, if you know my mother, you get it. I mean, it's like a family thing. But yeah, so we're going to try to, hopefully the buckets for the cows is more successful than the socks for the dogs. If not, if you drive by our house and you see duct taped barrels out there, it wasn't it was just as successful as the dog shoes. So anyway, we love you guys. We hope that you are able to find humor and fun in this season. I think that not only does God not give us a spirit of fear, but he wants us to enjoy life, to have fun. And if you are not having fun in life right now, you're doing it wrong. And even if you're like, but you don't understand, I've got a lot of stress right now. Let me tell you, I understand stress. We got stress. But again, we do what we can about it, make phone calls, do what you got to do. It doesn't mean you sit at home, don't work, and just wait for, God to feed you like the pigeon, or not pigeon, what is it? The sparrow, I think it is. I guess he feeds the pigeons too. But do what you can and then rest, have peace, find humor in the little things, be wise about what you're watching. If you're walking in a spirit of fear, or you're struggling with fear, maybe don't watch scary movies. I recommend not watching scary movies at all, but don't feed the fear. Don't feed, if you're already stressing out about the news, don't have it on. If you want to stop and watch the 10 p.m. news or something because you want to be at least connected a little bit or something, that's fine, but be wise about what you're putting in front of your eyes.
just like, for the longest time, we didn't watch the news, and when she was in the hospital, she calls me up and she's like, "Are you watching the news?" I'm like, "No." She says, "Oh my gosh, you got to watch the news. You got to see what's going on."
You had no idea.
I think that's when
anything was
President Trump put us in a
National emergency.
national emergency. And I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "You got to watch the news now." So I put it on. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know all this was going on."
So sometimes ignorance is bliss. Sometimes ignorance leaves you without toilet paper.
Yeah.
So luckily for us, again, my husband always tries to keep us well prepared on those things. And here's the other piece. I'm just going to add one little addendum to the preparation part of it. Throughout the years, because we have been preppers, and I was thinking of Jean and Jan the other day. They helped us move once, and they're like, "Oh my God, why do you have so much stuff? Like food and water." And we're like, "Well, you just never know." Well, when we moved in that house, when he wound up having open heart surgery, all that happened so quickly, and you know how it is on the railroads, your income is cut very dramatically while you're out, and so or with any job. we wound up not having to buy groceries for 3 months because we had enough stuff prepared. So just because you're prepping or preparing doesn't mean that you're doing it for the zombie apocalypse, as everybody calls it, but you're really just being wise. You know, I think about Joseph, and how the Lord gave him that word, and they prepared the 7 years of fat to deal with the 7 years of famine. And because he was wise and stored up, and really didn't care what anybody else said about it, not only was he able to feed his family, like his family and his family that didn't even know he was alive, but he was able to feed a nation. And so you never know. Again, if you're overly prepared and you're overly stocked and your neighbors are in need, I mean, it's a great opportunity to give. So just be wise, have fun, enjoy yourself, enjoy your kids. I saw a lot of memes today about all of the Common Core raised children who are about to learn how to carry the wand. I love that because I remember when my kids came home for the first time with some columned math system thing. I'm like, no, this is not how you do math. I don't know what this mess is. And I taught them the normal way, I'm guessing, the way we were raised on how to do math. So anyway, so good luck with that, all you new homeschool parents. Let us know how it's going. We love you. I'd love to hear your tips, ideas, suggestions, ways that you're making COVID-19 of 2020, you know, your quarantine. How are you making it fun? How are you keeping the mood light? Things that are working, things that aren't working, so that we can share with each other. So with that, I guess we will maybe see you on day 2. Okay? Sound like a plan?
Hopefully.
God willing and the creek don't rise, which is supposed to rain tomorrow, so the creek may rise. We'll see. All right. Love you guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.